Hey, that's us. Going nice and slow. Waiting for YouTube to catch up.
We should
I have
have
to not trust this.
we should have the music play.
That would have been smart, right? Oh, cool. We're live.
That's awkward.
Hi, everybody.
Sup?
Welcome back to our DM newsletter
That's right.
with guest appearances by Not the DM. This guy.
Same person as last time.
Yeah. We have to get the other guys to do this. And I have to teach you technology so you can do this without me. I know, right? Cool. So last time we did this kind of for everybody about everything in the first season. And this time, it's really only available for people that are on our Patreon. So first off, thank you. You guys are special and cool.
Just looking at your face.
Thanks. Second off, what was I just saying? Now you threw me off.
Sorry.
Damn. So this is the first episode where it's for Patreons only. If you are a Patreon right now, then you get to watch it. If you are a Patreon later on in life, you can watch this way back when and be like, hey, those guys are cool. Look at them 6 years ago. Look at the empire they've built.
Wow.
I got goals, man.
Lofty dreams.
But because this is the first episode really about the second season, and the entire first session of the second season is now out there in your ear holes, we figured we'd go over that session and talk about stuff about it and kind of give you a behind-the-scenes look. So, I figured maybe I'll...
That's me warming up.
That was your warm-up?
Yeah.
Want to warm up on camera? So I figured I'll ask you questions about the session and let you just kind of ramble on about them. Unless you have anything you want to just kick it off with.
Sure, actually, it's something I was thinking about. So no questions.
No questions.
I mean, for like a minute.
Okay.
Just
gonna chill here.
First thing I thought of, so if you have seen the first, what is it, 4 episodes of season?
5 episodes.
5, wow. We made 5 episodes out of that session. If you've seen the first 5 episodes of season 2, which was one session for us, you'll remember, hopefully, that at the beginning of the session, the way it started was kind of zooming in on 4 players, the 4 characters, and just getting a tiny snapshot of what they were doing.
We did that.
And I just want to point out, because someone asked me, why didn't you give more information, on what the 4 of them were doing during the break? And I thought, 2 things. One was, I like the idea that the characters were allowed to have secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And more than one person in the group, or more than one character in the group, has things that they did over break that have not come up yet. I think that's awesome. I wanted the opportunity for the characters to do things that if they wanted to keep from the other characters, they could. So that way when they do pop out, it can be like, wow, that was alluded to, in the first, few episodes of season 2, and it actually didn't pop out until, whenever. And also, no, that was it. That was my whole reasoning.
We heard a little bit about what Craig did.
Well, see, that was really fun. So
was that even? I don't know if that was the first session we did or not. So I don't want to give too much about it away.
Well, that's true. But even in the first episode, right? You guys go to the bar, and Craig says, I have this bottle, or he asks me. He says, hey, did I find any cool alcohols from the elemental plane of air? And Alex went, from the one day we were there, and he just and the listeners can't see it, but Craig just shot him this look like, and Alex just went, oh.
Right.
And I felt that, he was discovering oh wow, I forgot. Windor was up to stuff, and Brimley was up to stuff, and they all had their own different things that were going on. So that was the reasoning behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sometime down the line we'll do a more like descriptive. This is everything. Once it's all
once
kind
it starts
of
coming out, we'll maybe do like a history episode. That'd be cool.
So
it'd be really cool. It's cool if I ask you a question.
Yeah, I'll take a question.
Cool. We've done this before. We've kind of mentioned things like way back in the first session of the podcast. Stuff like
whole podcast.
The whole podcast where we talk about like stuff that
forever ago.
We've done, or we did something differently than you expected, or like you thought we would do something like in a super straightforward way, and we go really roundabout, or the other way around. Was there anything in this first session of the second season that we did like that, or was it pretty straightforward and like what you expected, or was there anything that you expected that we didn't even do?
So, yes. So the first session, the first 5 episodes starts with the basic backgrounds, what the 4 of them are up to.
Right.
Then you met up together in the bar of the Barking Bard in the
Yes.
city of Strummels on the 29th, very close to New Year's, 29th of Decene.
Okay.
And then you are going to go meet the good guys, the Assembly, as they are being called, the Assembly for the Remanation of Etrun.
It's a new word.
Yes, it is. Well, it's in Etrunian. It's a real word. It's not a word in our world, but it's a word. It's in their world. And so you're going to go talk to them. But as you're kind of heading on the way, there's this big battlefield going, and somebody had actually commented at me, and they said that they liked something I had done, and it really wasn't like deep. Like there wasn't this like well thought out reason for like me doing this, but they pointed out that they liked that like you guys jumping into this battle with the five leaders from the Assembly. It was like symbolic of how you guys jumped into this war. Like you didn't know too much about it, but it's like there had been a war kind of being fought, and you guys jumped into it, and this was like symbolic of you jumping back into it. And I was like, I just wanted an easy way for you guys to meet like the 5 leaders.
I didn't plan that, but I'll take credit for it.
Yeah, it was not this like well thought out symbolism, but I guess in hindsight that's what it is. And then after that you go to their headquarters.
Right.
This has been seen.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't listened to episode 5 of season 2, so I actually don't know when.
Episode 5
exactly
ends with us running into Aegisar Rorak.
Gotcha.
Getting ready for a rematch.
So to answer your question, very roundabout way, the last episode or so, where the 4 of you start really talking to the captains of the Assembly,
right,
and this thing where the Grand Master needs to be voted for, and I had no idea which direction, like I was like, it might be like the first honest bit of role play, like where like it wasn't like which door do you choose, left or right, and then whichever door you open, it's the same thing. Just like the illusion of role play. Like this was genuinely like someone here, like Viola or Galandan, is going to be the new Grand Master of this order, and whoever gets picked will affect season 2 and beyond.
And you had no control over it.
And I had absolutely no control over it, because the way I voted the 5 captains was that it was going to be up to your group. I used the 5 captains to vote for either Galandan or Viola.
Right.
I didn't spread them out amongst themselves because I wanted it to be at least that way. And yeah, the only thing, and again, so Craig, I think it was Craig.
It was Craig.
He voted for Korath, which was fine, except that it made it that Galandan and Viola had tying numbers.
Right.
Which I had to decide a tiebreaker in the moment. I had not thought out that possibility that it could tie because you're an odd number of people.
Right.
And in my mind, my 5 captains voted for either Galandan or Viola. So one way or the other, I think I leaned it slightly towards Galandan because he's just been around longer. But whichever way you sliced it, one of them was going to win. except if one of you voted for somebody else, which I did not anticipate. And so this tiebreaker, which was a fight, if neither of them are willing to back down, they have to fight, and whoever wins can become the Grand Master. Kind of information that, like, I don't mind, it's not a spoiler, but that will kind of pop out as you spend more time with the assembly, is like, it doesn't actually have to be that person. Like, can fight in their honor.
Right.
Like, a little, like, sneak peek is, Aberstall was not a warrior.
Right.
You know what I mean? So somebody, see if you can guess, that's not the camera. See if you can guess who, listener. Somebody had to step up and fight for Aberstall's honor. Somebody who believed in his ideal fought against somebody else. And, you know, again, I had some questions. You know, someone said, some people within the very podcast itself said, you know, what...
Oh, Tom's here.
Oh, good. We're live.
We are.
So, someone said, you know, isn't it weird that the loser gets kicked out? You know, doesn't that just continue to foster the idea of like splinter groups?
I feel like that was either Korath or Windar said something along those lines where it was just kind of like, I think it might have been Korath.
Yeah, I don't.
Very like insightful for.
It was, but the way I realized it, and again, I made this up in the moment because I was not anticipating a reality where Viola was leaving the assembly.
Right.
That happened because of player interaction,
right?
Which is fine. It's awesome, but the logic that I came up with on the fly, and I still think that it's pretty sound logic, is if you have somebody who's willing to go to a physical altercation with you because they will not back down because they believe that you are not the right leader for the job.
Right, they wouldn't hang
around. That is not somebody who is going to bend to your ideals. Therefore, they should go. And if they create their own group with their own ideals, that's fine. I don't think Viola's a bad person.
Right.
I don't think Viola is going to go and start a Shadow Warrior organization. That is a little bit of a spoiler to the creation of the Resurgence, actually. There's some history there with the Assembly. In episode 1, or whatever it was, session 1, the bandits, the black ninja types that attack you on the boat, have the same exact tattoos as...
Right.
Aberstall, just with slashes through it. You know there's history there, you know? And so if they create a splinter organization, that's fine. You can fight your enemy, or you can try to work around a rival. But if somebody is sabotaging you from within, that's not going to work. And so, again, the idea that the person that loses gets kicked out, I actually think was really good. And that, again, that was just on the fly because I did not know Viola was leaving.
Cool.
It was a long answer.
It was. I hope we didn't mess with your plans too much. I
really didn't plan that much for the assembly. I've said this to the guys, but season 1 was kind of linear. They had a lot of effect on how do we get from point A to point B. When they were going from Lorne to the Riverside Town, it was, do you want to take the river path, the wilderness path, or the path? I had 3 completely different storylines prepared for each of those 3. You might not believe that, because I can't prove it, but it's true, I did. And so, but even then, you know, the story was fairly linear. It's like, okay, I want you to do this, and then I want you to do this, and then you're going to learn this, which will make you want to do this.
Right.
Season 2 has been pretty linear to get you back into it.
Right.
But I've told them, as soon as you guys get out from where you are, whatever that means.
Right. The last session we played, without giving away anything, had a lot of choices.
There were a lot of choices, but again, it was still linear. You were still in the place that I needed you to be. True. As soon as you guys get out of this situation, like, again, it's basically going to be another time skip, but this time I'm demanding you stay together. And so it's going to be like, if you guys get out of this thing, again, wherever you are, you know, and it's just like, well, we don't know what to do. You guys are going to sit in a bar for a little while, you know, like that's the reality of it. There's not going to be a courier that runs in and says, I've got a quest for you. Like, you know, I want you guys to look back at everything you've accomplished and all the enemies you've made and all the NPCs you've made and what are side quests that have kind of popped up and be like, this is what I would like my character to go invest his time in. If that means breaking up the party, you know, into 2 groups, I'm open to that.
Cool.
I'd like once you guys get out of this thing, I'm trying to amp up this thing that they're at so you get really hyped about it.
It's a cool thing.
I think so. I had a lot of fun planning the most recent session. Hopefully it will be less linear, and yeah.
Cool. I got another question for you. So, in this first session, we had a really, really big fight. Like, really, really big.
Yeah.
I feel like there were like 30 minis on the map, probably about that much.
Yeah, there were 8 or so goblins.
We had the civilians.
There were 3 bugbears. There were the civilians of the map. There were the 5 captains. There were the 4 of you. There were the 5 bad captains. The 5 like high,
the archers,
not grunts, but like higher up members of. Oh, the archers on the roof.
The archers on the roof. The guys manning the ballistas.
The guys manning the ballistas, and then 2 trolls to round off the thing. Yeah, that was
a lot.
There were some mistakes made.
Yeah. So here's my question. It's a couple parts, so I'm gonna lay them all out, and then you just kind of ramble into them as you feel like it.
Okay.
What mistakes did you make? What would you do differently next time? What did you do really well? And then, like, what tips would you give somebody who's going to be running a big encounter like that?
Okay, so first things first. I think combat is the weakest part of my DM game.
Cool.
I think that's true. I think
it's a hard thing to get right.
I think so. It's because I feel like it's the part that players are most excited about because it's what all your powers do.
Right.
But then when it actually happens, you just kind of want to autoplay through it and be like, all right, who wins this fight so we can get back to the talking.
Right.
Because the talking, the reasons why you're doing everything, that's the fun stuff. But so I just want to say that I'm not trying to put myself down or anything, but I think combat is the weakest part of my game, and I wanted to start with something big. I wanted you to kind of like, last season, the 2 main enemies you had were these dark warriors, right? They attacked you on the boat, they attacked you in the streets of Valorn, they attacked you in the desert. In the desert, they hired 4, like not bounty hunters, but like 4 more specially trained people to like come attack you because like there was like, dang, we can't stop these guys. And you fought a lot of goblins. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted it to be like this idea of your main enemies from season 1
all come back
kind
together.
of all came together because of the impact you left in the world over the past year. And so I wanted it to feel really full. And the thing I did wrong... Oh, there's so many things. I think as far as a podcast episode go, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's enjoyable to listen to. Tweet at me if I'm wrong. If it was like, dang, that was horrible. You can tweet at me, that's fine. I'll cry for like 5 minutes, but I'll take the criticism. I think as a podcast episode, it was okay to listen to. But for you guys, I don't think it was as fun as other episodes because there was a lot of sitting around. Because, you got to do one thing, and then you had to wait for the ballistas to go, the archers to go, the dark captains to go, the good guys to go, the townspeople to run away. There were so many things between you and your next turn, and I know I hate waiting. And as we went, I'm like, I made some on-the-call decisions, like, all right, all the goblins are going to make 1 attack roll. And if they all hit, sucks for you guys. If they all miss, great for you guys. But it's going to speed this thing along. And I definitely, like, nerfed some of them on the fly. I was like, I'll give these guys half the HP that I was originally planning. Just, some guys were more like minions, like more like fodder. In the end, the goblins and the archers were ended up being a lot weaker than I had in my mind.
Were the archers weaker, or did we just take them out too fast?
You took them out fast. I mean, so again, here's the thing. As you get stronger, your monsters are going to get stronger, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought in my head, I still want you guys to fight the shadow warriors that you fought on the boat. Like, I want you to remember or to notice how strong you've become.
Gotcha.
That was kind of my plan.
Yeah.
And Korath mowed them down.
Yeah.
He killed like 4 in 1 turn somehow. Probably only 3, because that seems like what's possible.
I think he did 3 and then I did 2.
And then you took out the other 2.
Yeah.
You killed them, you defeated them in 1 turn, and I was like, that's awesome. Like I'd love it when you guys are level 20. I'm just gonna throw 100 of these guys at you, and they're not gonna be able. You're just gonna be like bouncing off of your armor, their attacks, and you're just gonna be like, just like I just picture like Thor just killing giants, like laughing and chuckling as you go. And I want you guys to see that you've grown. That was the idea of putting the same level weak goblins and the same level weak Shadow Warrior people.
That's cool.
That was my thought. It ended up being bigger than I anticipated, though. But
yeah,
you live, you learn. I think again, I don't want to spoil too many things, but I think I want to start throwing smaller, faster combats at you. So just like little scuffles.
Right.
And it won't be like, whoa, we got into one little fight, so we're gonna sleep now. It's like no, like you fought someone and
right.
maybe you take a short rest, but you move on and then you'll get attacked again throughout the day, and so that the combats will go a little faster. Like, oh wait, they don't know about that yet. I was gonna say my bad.
All right, cool. Any tips you would give somebody to running a big session like that? Don't. He's got his thinking cap on.
That's a reference to our side project.
We'll talk more about that in a second. We got a couple minutes left.
I don't know. I wouldn't say don't.
No.
I think, again, for me, I think during roleplay, I don't think mechanically. And I think I personally come up with more vivid characters and more realistic responses. I think once my brain flips to battle, I start thinking more mechanically myself, and I get less descriptive. So I think that if you can maintain, I run towards my foe and I swing at him with my blade instead of I move 6 spaces and roll an attack roll, which is again something we've been trying to be better about. We have recognized our own shortcomings in this area. I think if you can do that, great. I would say, especially if you're using a bunch of weak enemies like goblins or they're bandits, the Shadow Warrior archer guys are bandits. If you're going to do that, I'd say have them all do 1 attack roll. And if they miss, fantastic. And if they hit, I'd even roll 1 damage die. And just be like,
usually what I'll do
these 4 people, you all take 4 damage, 5 damage, whatever it is.
Cool.
That's make it go faster.
All right.
What's funny? The troll. I didn't mean to do this, and I was so pissed at myself that I did this. Trolls regenerate health unless in the previous turn they took fire damage.
Right.
Even if they're dead, you drop them to 0.
Oh,
One
really?
turn later, they will rise up, and they'll be alive again. And I literally put someone on the battlefield that only throws fireballs. And I was so I'm like, oh, these trolls are going to be great. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
You nerfed yourself.
Viola, you know what I mean? And it was just like, I was very frustrated
That's really
with
funny.
myself that I had done that.
Cool. All right. We got to go see a movie, but we're going to do one thing before we go. We got these cool minis painted a while back.
We did. We're going to look in the box.
We're going to look in the box. And
protected by our dragon.
Yeah. A Chardalon, I think.
I don't remember, actually.
All right, so
you may have seen the player minis. This was just something Ian from Iron Tusk, something he just sent us.
Can you see that?
We said, a little closer. Nice. It's a little blurry, but it's pretty good. We had sent Ian an email saying, hey, we're doing a podcast. We have these minis that are white. Can you paint them? And he was like, sure. And we were like, all right, how much? And he was like, nah, you guys are cool. And we were like, whoa, you're pretty cool too. So he then sent them back.
With this little extra guy.
And he just sent them. And I was just like, here you go.
And then we did an unboxing video that I think like 6 people watched. But in that video, Owen asked people to tell him what they should use it for, or we should use it for. And I don't think anybody did.
No.
So
easy to miss that one though.
Yeah. Last week? 2 weeks ago. Recently. We did
1 week ago.
1 week ago, we did a long recording session over 2 days. I think we have something like 24 hours of audio that I've got to start sifting through.
Same.
And in it, DMing that one, which is cool. I used this guy, and I thought that was a lot of fun. Also, one of the most frustrating combats I've ever run, and I hope you guys get to find out why. Yeah. That session is one of our, or right now it's our only stretch goal on Patreon. So if we hit $100 a month, that's the one we'll be able to put out there. It was a lot of fun to play. I had so much fun with that.
You should check out our Patreon and give money so that this thing comes out, because I've been learning the mandolin just for this this other project. Yeah. So.
But yeah, so big shout out to Ian, because
thank you again.
He's actually still sending us awesome stuff, and we can't wait for you guys to see that stuff either.
I want to throw this in this because I've stated in the past that advertisements suck. This is my own personal opinion. Ian has not asked us to just keep mentioning his name.
No, it was
this wasn't. No, it was this wasn't. No, it was this wasn't.